About those comments, according to Reuters, once again, a source within BP is saying that they are heading to a showdown with the White House. Do you agree that this environment right now is being over politicized?
Well, I'm really speechless. When we learned yesterday on your network, I believe, that the President of the United States had never spoken on the phone with the CEO of BP in the last 50 days. You know, for some of us, about 2 weeks after this occurred on April 20th, we started to observe that the administration's been slow to respond. But I think what's becoming more apparent to millions of Americans, what's truly apparent to the people across the Gulf region, is that this widening ecological disaster has not been met with the kind of energetic, hands-on leadership that the American people expect from this administration and this president, and frankly the law requires from this administration. And this latest flap about the lines in the sand, you know, again, BP is responsible to cap the well. BP is financially responsible for the consequences of the spill, but that's our coastline. And what we don't need right now is BP and the White House at swords points drawing lines in the sand. What we need is leadership from the president who rolls his sleeves up. How about pick up the phone to the CEO of BP and work the problem?
Congressman, just to get sort of to the issues that investors on Wall Street are concerned about, and that is the dividend, do you think that there is a role for government to say, you know what, BP, you are on the hook for the cleanup costs, and so therefore, you know what, don't pay that dividend, at least for now, until that cost is covered?
Well, I don't look for financial advice from Senator Chuck Schumer, but look, BP's got to be held responsible here. And however it is that they go about the business of financing that, and I heard you all talking about the insurance component here, they got to figure it out. And they got to figure out that they are responsible for the cleanup of this discharge. They're responsible for the economic impacts on the region. But I'm not real interested in having the federal government dictate to them you know, what they can and can't do with the resources of their company or their responsibilities to shareholders.
Congressman Pence, it's Steve Grasso. How are you?
Hey, Steve.
Let me ask you one question about the lifting of the liability caps. Isn't that Washington choosing the winners and losers in this game? Because obviously the lower tier players without the big market cap aren't going to be able to put up enough capital to actually have some working in progress in those regions.
Yeah, look, it's an extremely important point that the existing caps encourage investment, encourage entrepreneurship, and encourage the smaller exploration interest to be in this business, which we want to be doing as we work toward an all-of-the-above energy strategy. It includes encouraging the development of our domestic reserves in oil and natural gas. You get rid of those caps entirely, and you're only going to have the big players in. And it also goes to the point, is BP responsible? Absolutely. I haven't heard BP say yet, although you guys suggested they're pushing back on some economic impacts, I haven't heard BP say yet that they wouldn't pay the full cost and the full impacts.
That's true. That's true,
of
Congressman.
this. And so, you know, why we would need to permanently change policy when BP is willing to voluntarily provide the resources to offset the impacts on the environment and the economy in the region, I think is a legitimate basis for debate.
I'm curious, Congressman, why are you so confident that BP will actually be able to figure out, based on its balance sheet, whether or not it can pay the dividend and meet shareholder obligations, but also pay all the cleanup costs and the liability and the lawsuits, you know, years and years and years down the line? They didn't manage their business apparently very well. Why are you so confident? Why are you confident enough to say, you know what, BP, you can figure it out and we will stay out of it?
No, I'm just more confident that they can figure it out than Senator Schumer can.
So it's a relative call here.
What we need to say to them is, this is your problem. You own the responsibility to work the problem and pay for the discharge. But again, I got to be honest with you. I am amazed to learn yesterday on your network that the President of the United States never picked up the phone, never had a conversation in 50 days with the CEO of BP. We just simply need a change in the leadership posture of this administration and the leadership practices of this president. That's our coastline. We need to hold them accountable. We will in the short term and in the long term for the economy and the environment. But the president has got to provide the energetic leadership that the American people expect and the law requires.
Okay. Representative Pence, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Representative Michael Pence, Republican from Indiana.